Hello everyone, and thank you for coming to this hopefully first of many live film booth workshops. I'm Ed, I'll be your host today. This is James on the right hand side of me. James works at Film Booth, he helps with editing, thumbnails. He's got a lot of experience in graphic design. You can hear my phone playing in the background. I'll have to just shut my phone playing off. Right-hand side of me. James works at Film Booth. There we go. Smooth. My lives are always smooth. Yeah, so hopefully the first of many Film Booth live streams. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a system that's going to get you more views. It's a 5-step system, and it's all based around getting more clicks. So how this worked was like this. I asked members of my mailing list to send in their thumbnails, and we're going to take those thumbnails and we're going to fix potential problems with them and then show you how to fix them, and then hopefully design thumbnails that are going to get better results, a much higher quality. So this is my cryptic 5-step system. It would only make sense to start at step 1 before we move on to step 2. So let's break this down now and jump straight in to contestant number 1. So the software I'm using today is called Millernote, okay? Before you guys ask, I'll remind you again later on, because I'm sure people will. But this is contestant number 1. And as you can see on screen, we have our 5-step system. So the first step of getting more views is your idea. So let's reveal our first candidate. Here we are. So this is for a video called Top 5 Hidden Rules to Balance Strength and Endurance. And the first part of this system is coming up with an idea. Now, the idea is already there. So what myself and James are going to do is we're going to throw some objections at this idea as to why it might not work. You can see my notes are already there. James, give me some reasons why you think people wouldn't click on this thumbnail.
From a design perspective, I think it's a bit basic looking. You're quite small in the frame, and it's not a very interesting color to make me want to click. There's no gradient. There's no interest, so that would make me skip personally.
It's sometimes clean, simple thumbnails are good, but for some reason this doesn't quite feel like the cleanness is working, right?
Yeah, it looks a bit more like one of those bad adverts you might see in the corner of YouTube or something, and it's like, nah, I'm not going to buy that.
Well, don't mince your word, James.
I don't mean like bad thumbnail, I mean bad adverts.
so we don't want any tears today. All right, so yeah, from a design point of view, I like where you've gone. You've gone for clean, but I think the blue isn't doing any favors. You've also gone for this cryptic hidden rules thing, which can work sometimes, but what we're going to do is when we move on to step 2, we're going to show you how to workshop this and hopefully fix it. Another one I just want to throw at you is this: top 5 hidden rules to balance strength and endurance. So this is a running channel, okay? And what does balancing strength and endurance mean? So I'm not one of your viewers. I'm not one of your avatars. It doesn't really excite me. But one thing I would ask you, is there a different way you could position this title so that maybe it would excite other people? And that might be by showing the result. So you could do that with some new title options, which I kind of like drafted here. So like top 5 rules to unleash your inner athlete. It doesn't go so specific, but it leads with the result. 5 rules that transform strength and balance. The smartest way to balance strength and endurance. Do this to balance strength and endurance the smart way. Balance strength and endurance the smart way. And we'll go into a minute why I've said the smart way. So this is the first part of the system. It's your idea. And really when you come up with an idea, you have to say, okay, my idea is I want to talk about strength and balance. How on earth do I get people to click on that? And that's where we move into the second part of the system. This bit is so important. I cannot express this enough. So this is the second part. Let me zoom in, because Millernote loves to zoom out every time you go in. The second part is inspiration. So when you're making a thumbnail or title, you have to go and find inspiration. You have to go and look what worked elsewhere so that you can take elements of other people's thumbnails. So what I did is I went and did some research within your niche. And these are some of the channels I came across. So we have Jeff Nippard up here, who's like a fitness legend. We have AthleanX. This is from another kind of running channel, whose name I forget. And then I also went a bit wider. I came down here. I've taken some inspiration from my channel, from Hilliers, and another running channel. And this will make a lot more sense in a minute. But James and anyone in the comments watching right now, I just want to play a quick game. On these thumbnails here, these are all really high-performing thumbnails. Some of them have 10 million views plus. What pattern do you notice? What sticks out to you from these images? Is there anything that you can see going on in all of them that links them?
I can't see something in all of them, but I can see certain ones that have like a scientific element. You've got these dashed lines, you've got these numbered points, and that instantly makes it have kind of some strength to back up its argument on what it is, even though it's just dotted lines. And then some have got a before and after shot as well, which definitely show results.
Yeah. Perfect. So what we've got going on here is we have what I noticed as a pattern anyway was negative, got a lot more views. So stop doing this, not good, before and after, not before and after, sorry, not good here, and stop doing this. And actually as a pattern across all these channels, if we go and look at Athlean X, let's just have a quick look in here. What we're going to see is if we take his videos to most popular, fix this, like problem, but bad idea. What else have we got going on down here? Let's just hide this. Stop doing this. Don't do this. So a lot of his kind of like top performing videos are very much negative. So that's one thing that we want to have a think about. Let me just have a quick check of something on the stream because someone just wrote a comment saying, is this unlisted? And it shouldn't be. So if it is, I'm just going to go and quickly fix that. Let's make it public. Okay, who knew that when you go live, it doesn't automatically publish your video. So now we're going live to everyone else. Well done, everyone who turned up from the email and the community board. All right, so we're going to go back to our board. Like I can't express how important this is. And we're looking for patterns. So the next pattern, we've got this scientific look, but also they're very clean, right? So there's not actually a huge amount going on. For Athlean's here, it's just him, it's just a photo, some text. Same here, not much going on. Very simple. So when you're looking at this, you need to be thinking, right, they're simple. I need to make my thumbnail simple as a result, which you did. But this red thumbnail here is very simple, but it's also got quite a lot going on, which kind of makes it feel complete. And then there's this subtle texture in the background and shadows that kind of give it that more pro effect that the blue one was missing. So the patterns we spotted, we want to then bring them to your thumbnail. So one of the things you want to be thinking about for your viewers is always, once you're looking for patterns and you're making a video, is what do the viewers care about in this video? So in this example, and again, I don't know your avatars that well, because you're a running channel, I'm thinking they want to run faster, they want to run for longer. You put stronger endurance on there. I don't know if that's like top. To me, it's like they probably just want to run faster, right? And that's why I like this video here, because it was titled about running faster, and this one here. So that's what we're going to lean towards too. Now, I read some of the title options that I thought you could play around with too, and this is why you do thumbnail and title first, because you need to come up with a thumbnail and title, not a video. Come up with the thumbnail and title, and then work out how to get a video into it. And that's why things like 5 rules pro runners use to set record times might have been a better video to make, because then you could go on to talk about how strength and balance and endurance, or balancing strength and endurance, actually helps them to achieve that. So you research to try and find a way to present your idea, and then you come up with different thumbnails and titles, which brings us on to the next step of the system. This is drafts. So what we've done is we've actually gone away, taken these patterns that we noticed, and created some draft thumbnails for you. Now, these are draft thumbnails. So you don't want to go away and make the best looking thumbnail you possibly can. You just want to throw together a concept quick. You can draw it. We usually just chuck it into Photoshop, do a quick cutout and throw it in. Some of these might not look that draft, mainly because James has been mucking around with Photoshop for so long. His drafts are like everyone else's. not best thumbnails. But this is really important, because what we can now look at is a bird's eye view of how this video could have looked. So we've got this one here, the original top 5 hidden rules to balance strength and endurance. Let's have a look at this top line and what we did. So when I did the research on this channel, one of the things I did was I typed in on all of the biggest fitness channels I could find rules into their search bar. So let me show you. If we go to Jeff Nippard, There's this little, if you want to, when you're doing research and you've got a rough title idea, let's just type in rules and see what Jeff has done about rules. And we can't find anything at all. So you might be wanting to ask yourself, if you've done this after a few creators, should I be talking about rules in the first place? But we decided to keep your draft thumbnails about rules. So breaking these rules will wreck your endurance. I went for a negative in the title because we know that the biggest creators in the fitness niche were getting more views with negatives. And then what we did was borrow from some of their designs these sort of like scientific blobs and dots. And then we made 3 different options. So it's the same cutout with a different background. James, any of these top ones work best for you?
I would say number 2. It's got a nice bit of colour. The red stands out really well. And number 3 is missing the athletics tracks, so you wouldn't know it's running as opposed to just general sport training like football or something. So having that element definitely has helped.
Spot on.
And yeah, it looks nice. Well done.
I like what you said there about this one here on the right, okay? So it is about running, but it could be about football. It could be about chasing someone down the street, a mugger. It could be about running in strength and endurance. So we've got the one on the left, gives a bit of context as to what it's about, creates a bit of intrigue by highlighting certain areas of the body, and then it puts a negative in the way. And then this one here, I think this is my favourite too because, like you said, it still keeps that background and gives it some context. All right? So is there anything you just don't like about these that you don't think works?
I don't think the wording you've got in the thumbnail is particularly exciting. Not good. I think that could be something stronger.
It's quite ironic. It's not good.
It's not that good. I'm looking for like something. The third one at least has stop in it, which is definitely like it gets your attention more. So like stop doing this, and then to improve. So not good. Isn't really showing much to me.
It's not
Go
good.
stronger. Yeah. It's not good. It's weak.
And okay, so if we were going to pick a winner to put into a final, are we going for the middle one with different text?
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Bottom. Next, look at the next row. So we've kept the same title here, and what we've done is I've taken your thumbnail and just tweaked it slightly. So any of those pop out to you more than another, James?
I probably like the red one best. Just because the white one hasn't got the vignette around it at all, so it's lacking that more premium look to it for me. So I always like having a subtle gradient, even if you can't barely see it.
So just to describe, so people don't know what a gradient is, let's just blow this up. So a gradient is where you see it gets a bit darker here, and then it gets a bit lighter. You'll see a lot of YouTubers use it on plain backgrounds. Just kind of gives it more of a premium feel.
Frame's what's in the center as well if you have it on each corner, so it helps draw the eye to where you want it to as well.
So they are drafts, so the plan would be to pick them and then make the board look more realistic and so on, but this is the basics we're looking at. Which one would you pick if you had to put one into our final to battle against the other thumbnails?
I think I would go with the red, but there's some things I don't necessarily like about it.
It's a draft, just as a concept.
The white's okay as well.
As a draft, in a split second, James, which one would you click on?
I'll go for the red myself.
Okay, same, actually. Same. Great minds. All right, so I want to introduce you guys to the next concept. So,
but on that one, though, stop running. It didn't look like running to me when I read that word. It looked like something else. So I was a bit...
yeah.
I would never have known that's about sport.
Okay. Very good point. I'm very glad that you brought this up because I completely forgot to mention this. So let's talk about this thumbnail. It's a powerful concept if you get it right, which we haven't here. I'm going to go back to our inspiration wall. So this thumbnail here, which I made a long time ago, says videos don't grow channels. It challenged the status quo. The idea was stolen from Veritasium. He held up a thumbnail that said, "You are not a visual learner." And the title was "The Number One Myth in Education." It challenged what everyone thinks about themselves. So that can be an amazing way to get a click. So the whole idea behind this board for me at that time was like, how do we challenge the status quo? And I don't know enough about running, so I just wrote stop running. Ideally, you know a little bit more about that and you think, okay, what is it everyone always does that they shouldn't and gets wrong? Put it there, tell them to stop it. It creates intrigue, it gets a click. But yeah, my basic stop running was probably a little bit too lame.
I think it could even be like the clothes he's wearing as well. Like if he was wearing a running top, it would help. Just a black t-shirt doesn't say anything at all, or even like sweatband on the head or the wrist. Just some little cues to the sport he's talking about would have helped, I think.
Hey, what about some running shoes tied around his neck?
I was going to say that, but then
of course you were, James.
I was. My worry would be that are they football boots? Because I don't know if you can tell from a distance the difference between
Very good point. Very good point. You could put some holes in them, like have some smoke coming out the bottom, like they've just been run around. All right, and then I want to introduce you to another powerful concept. So I'm going to go back to this inspiration stage because I forgot to mention this. So when I was looking at your ideas, I decided in the drafts page to come up with 3 different concepts. The first was just to change your title and a little bit and experiment with your own concept, because I don't think it was the worst concept, it just needed a bit of tweaking. The second was just a brand new title. And the third is what's known as social hacking. Now, this video here, I don't know who this chap is, but I'm sure someone does, because this video got a lot of views. So what we want to be thinking is, and again, same here, Usain Bolt, right? Millions and millions of people know him. We want a social hack. We want to use celebrities, famous people that our viewers look up to, and we'll click on as fast as can. I call them power people in our thumbnails. Unfortunately, most of us are not power people. So, believe it or not, if I appear in my thumbnail, I always get less views. And over the long term, it can change, but usually on release, they don't do as well as if I'm not in them, and we just show the result. So what I did for this concept was, I don't know much about running, but I went in and I went to try and find a famous runner. I typed in famous endurance runner. But, you know, I don't know who this guy is. Hopefully he has some meaning. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Usain Bolt. And then we took the 5 rules and tried to point it out to make it look like each rule was associated with the body part. And then we went on this whole idea of scientific, which we'd noticed was a trend on Jeff Nippard's channel. I think Athlean maybe. There was some other ones. We noticed that science was a big part to your niche. So I changed the title to 5 rules that's scientifically proven to make you faster. I tried another one that said 5 rules to make you a faster runner. And yeah, I decided to actually drop the word runner out of the title because I thought, do you know what? The image gives it enough context, but you could put it in. James made these drafts. I think they're very slick. They're very clean. The gradient helps with the problem James spoke about. James, which one of these 3 is winning for you?
I think either the blue or the grey, white. The white one probably. I think the white's clean enough and nice enough to make me want to click. Yeah. It's got nice contrast with the red and the slight grey colour. And the vignette's not overpowering.
If I hadn't rushed you and said, James, get this done, we've got a live later, what would you have done to improve the design? Anything?
A better cutout, obviously. I was working with a low-res image. Potentially, if you've got branding colours, I might have coloured his shirt to match your brand or something like that. Subtle tweaks like that. Maybe
let's talk about that. So, you see these background colours? I actually changed them by picking the exact same blue and red from his clothing. So one of the things that people do with thumbnails is they put far too much colour in it sometimes. It can work, but this red here is actually the same red as his shorts, just to try and stop it from getting too overwhelming, keeping the same colours. It kind of hides the cool circles then, but that was actually something I did. I had another one which had the green colour from his shirt too, but I just thought 3 was enough.
Yeah. I meant the actual channel brand, whether they had a...
Oh, I see.
Whether they had a banner colour or something that was like throughout all their videos, a link that they could carry on throughout their other videos. And then maybe look at a different font. I think that's just Arial that I put in just because I knew you'd have it. But you could go for an italic font, one that represents speed, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Someone just said in the comments, they said, I'd put a track in the background. I'm glad they mentioned that because I would as well. And I think one of the cool things about looking and doing this is, okay, we've got these bottom ones and then we've got these top ones and we've got the sign. We can say, all right, what's working from all of them? Could we combine them into one? And I think actually maybe the combination of that background on here, that could have been spot on. Thoughts?
Yeah, it could be an option, but I would do it very graphically or something. So it's just the lines that are going around like the arc of the 400-meter track, and then kind of blur it to nothingness because you don't want it to interfere with anything else. So I'd have just a slight arc, a few lines to represent it, but I don't want it to interfere with anything else really. I think it's clean, and there's a risk that you would start introducing an element that your eye will look at more than anything else if it goes wrong.
Okay, so that is the what section is that? That's the third section, drafts. Now we need to move on to the fourth, and this is a very important part of your new view system. Point number 4. And this is feedback. So we need to be very careful with feedback. I'm going to teach you some tricks. So when you're asking for feedback, just a quick win, do never ask someone if they like your thumbnail, because it's not about liking an image or thinking it looks cool. It's about what works and what would get a click. So you might need to give your viewers some context and say, my viewers are runners, they're interested in strength and this and that. Which thumbnail, knowing that, sticks out to you fastest. If they turn around and go, I like the top one, looks cool, that's not helpful. We don't want to like, we want it works. So I'm going to ask you guys in the chat right now. You guys are going to give us our feedback, because then we are going to move on to the next section. But what would happen here is, so there's a slight delay on this. So guys, in the comments right now, there's 9 thumbnails here. This will be number 1. This will be number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get the idea. Just write the number that you would have clicked on if you're an avatar, the one that works, and we're going to take that, and then we'll take it to the next system. So the feedback round is all about trying to get multiple opinions from different people who ideally know the game and understand your avatars, and then running with that thumbnail. But before you release it, you go and tweak it. So if you guys had picked this one, we would have gone and designed it just to look a lot slicker. All right, so the numbers are coming in. We've got a few people have voted for 2, 1 and 2. No, that's cheating. It's got to be 1. 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 8. All right, interesting. So for me, I would have led with number this one, but I'm so glad I asked for feedback, because what I'm seeing here is actually 8 and 2 seem to be the clear winners. So I would then go, all right, what I've got, I'm going to roll with 2. The majority of people said this one. I'm going to launch. I'm going to perfect this, which is the next step of our system. After we've had the feedback, we then go and perfect it, and we launch it. And this is the system you want to use every time. If you do this every time before, when I say perfect it and launch, I mean you need to go and make the video. But if you do this every time before you make videos, you will get more views, I promise, because you'll be making thumbnails that are statistically more likely to get clicked. You'll be using patterns. You'll be, getting feedback from people who are going to help you decide what to launch with. And then you write your intro, which means you might end up making a slightly different video to what you thought you were going to do, but you were making it based on data, and that is going to get you more views. So, yeah, I think number 2 won there, James. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. My only concern with it is the clothing that runner is wearing, but this is the concept that could work. So yeah, going forward.
Okay, so I like your objection. So we find another man or a woman who's wearing clearly kind of track stuff.
Yeah, because this could be like a channel like F2 Freestylers or something. The football one.
Yeah, you're right. They are on a track. I mean, it helps. But...
Yeah, but your track is a bit hidden.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so this is the first person we have put through the system. Thank you everyone who took part in this. What we're going to do now is just to break things up. We're going to take one question from the audience. And by the way, if you want to learn this system, master it, get amazing at Photoshop, photography, lighting, check out the link in the description. Thumbnail University was born a few weeks ago. This is the only place on the planet that teaches people this sort of stuff. It's going to help you level up your thumbnails and your views a ton. I'm very excited about it. So questions flying in. James and I produced it. It took months, didn't it, James? It's good fun though.
It was.
Okay, here's the question we're going to run with. Oops, I pressed ban by mistake. Hang on. Add to broadcast. Should text be branded colors or more towards a topic and color theory? Great question. James, thoughts?
Color theory. I mean, yeah, it all depends on what's already present in the thumbnail to me. You can't always shoehorn in your brand color if it's not going to work.
Just a bit of a shameless plug there because Sean joined Thumbnail University and he's saying it's unbelievable. Anyway.
Thanks, Sean.
So I'm totally down with what you just said. I think it's very tempting to want to create a brand style. And I think it is very powerful over time to have that consistent look. But at the same time, if it means an item is going to stick out less in your thumbnail, you kind of need to go for the thing that's going to help it work. And then also, we're struggling with a brand look, aren't we? We've been trying to work on one for a while, and it's just a graph basically going up. Is what we're landing on. But don't let your brand guide get in the way of a click.
Unless you do have a style like Corridor Digital or something like that, where it's got a framework that you can follow and it's the black and yellow. But then that's them.
Yeah.
Can't copy that.
We've got Max. Max has 900,000 subscribers, well on the way to 1 million. He says, I always like to ask, what do you think this video is about when showing thumbnails to people as well? That's a good question. Sometimes a concept is clickable, but the interpretation isn't correct. That's coming from Max, a top YouTuber. Thanks for that, Max. All right, let's go back to the start of the system and move on to the next one. Is there anything you'd like to say, James? Do you want to say hello to your mum?
Mum, I'm on TV.
Is she watching you?
I don't think so.
No, I think Liv might be watching me. But hello, Liv, if you are. She's probably not. She doesn't. She's well over that stage of our relationship. All right, next up we have Rachel. I flipping love this video we're about to look at. It's about thumbnails again. It's the same system. We're going to redesign the thumbnails. Completely different concept. This is the video. Let me just tell you about this video, okay? So this is Rachel. Rachel, I'll have to try and link to this afterwards because it's fun. It was a great story with a twist that made me go, I'm probably going to give it away now. But so Rachel got scammed by someone, and it was actually a YouTuber with a lot of subscribers, and they asked her to apply for a job, and she did, and they were like, they asked for some personal data like passport stuff, things that you need to be sensitive with, and she gave it, and then they came back and said, I'm a scammer. I've just taken all your data, which I was like, oh man, this sucks. But then they revealed they were actually a YouTuber making a YouTube video about not handing over your data. And Rachel was quite upset because she was like, I was really excited about this job. So she called them and they had a chat. And it was a really interesting video because she spoke to the person, and it ended up, somehow I ended up enjoying a cybersecurity video, which if you are in the cybersecurity niche, you will know is tough. So well done, Rachel. I really enjoyed this. I watched the whole thing. I forgot I was supposed to be doing thumbnails. So you made me procrastinate a ton too, which wasn't as helpful. So now you know the history to this. Let's run it through the system. First things first, James, what we got going for objections here?
I mean, yeah. When I first saw it, I thought it was quite busy. I didn't think your image was the best quality. It looks like it was a still from the video rather than a shot taken with a camera.
James, why should you not take stills from a video?
I mean, so a video works around 25 frames a second, depending on your settings, and every slight movement you do is going to have motion blur, and that's what gives that nice look. We call it the cinematic look. So trying to grab a freeze frame, unless you're filming in like 60 frames, which is ridiculous, you're not going to get a sharp image. And so I always hate it when previous clients would say, "Oh, we'll just film it in 4K and then we'll take a still." It's like, it doesn't work that way.
That was me before I met you. I'll just 4K it, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yes, it's higher resolution, but it's still going to have motion blur.
So in an ideal world, we want to set up our cameras to take a photo. And I hate to say it, it does make a big difference. It does make a big difference. So that's the first thing. It feels like a still. And you know what? You can get around that. James, can we just talk about the colour? So Rachel's skin tone's gone a little bit purple, a bit red here. Why might that have happened?
Well, we don't know the context of the image. Like, if this is a cutout from the video, the rest of the shot would be colour matched to that as well, so it wouldn't even look odd. But because it's been cut out with a yellow bit of text next to it and a white background, it instantly looks purple beetroot because it's sticking out like a sore thumb compared to everything else, because it's isolated from everything else now. So I'd be interested to see what her real colour was from the video, but it could be because it's from like a low-res camera. It looks like it could be from a webcam, but
there we are. We can see the natural sort of colour there.
It all started when I saw this community.
There's a big difference. Just respond to a few comments. No, this is not pre-recorded. This is live. Hello. Yeah. So look, I think this is the sort of color temperature we want to get back into the image, right? Because it feels kind of like a higher quality. Let me just refresh so I can get that thumbnail back. So that's just another objection. The reason why this is important is, as educators, as YouTubers, people are looking for every reason not to trust us, not to care, and it's about credibility. So when you put a lower quality image, it tells people potentially this is going to be a lower quality video. They might not want to click, they might want to hear what you have to say. Now, sometimes it works in the exact opposite. It's almost ironic. But in this case, I think what we wanted to do to get this video and the story out that I thought was brilliant, we want to fix that. Anything else, James?
I thought it was quite busy in terms of, I'm not sure where my eyes are supposed to look, because I thought, when I first saw it, I thought the desperate text was part of the tweet or email behind her. I couldn't make that link, so I wasn't sure what to look at first. So it was a bit of a struggle on that instance.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, from the image itself, if we go by what Max, who came into the chat earlier, said, which was, ask people what you think this video might be about without the title, it's hard to tell there, right? It's like desperate what? What does the text mean? So that's phase one with the idea. Now, one thing I would say is scam videos can do amazing on YouTube. So I like the idea. I really enjoyed the story. I thought it thinks it has potential. So we move in, once the idea, we move into the inspiration board. Oh, one of the videos has vanished from my inspiration. Never mind. So what I went and did here was I went and researched different scam videos that have got millions of views, that have done well, that performed above average for the channels, just to see what we could find inspiration from. And James, what sticks out to you? Are there any patterns here that you think, okay, this is clearly something we need to get into our own thumbnail?
Well, I could see 3 of them at least are having a person to one side, so you got clear space for having the email part of text. There's that, and then there's also just focusing on the hero element of the email, so or the text, the tweet, and it's very clear what to look at, obviously.
Yeah, so I like, I left these ones in from the previous. Let's just leave that. So Graham Stephan does this a lot. He shows a tweet, and they are kind of intriguing, right? You see this message. I think Jack Gordon did Jack did a flipping brilliant one here with he social hacked. He used the Mr. Beast logo, which I think the hacker was using, so it's not out and out clickbait. But to me, that was a very smart thumbnail. He's used scam. He looks shocked, and he's got the Mr. Beast logo, which is that brand again. And the same like Marcus has used himself here. Graham Stephan's actually social hacked with Elon because he knows Elon gets the clicks. So potentially there's an element of social hacking we can get in there. This one's pretty cool. Again, social hack in that he's used Mr. Beast, PewDiePie, I think Logan Paul, little instantly recognizable people. So there's that element. And yeah, simplicity really, and just showing the text. So that's what I took from this. And then what I decided was, I was like, right, we need to make 3 thumbnails here, and we're going to use your title. We're going to come up with a new title, a slightly different one. And I think that was about it. So here's the drafts we came up with for this, if they want to load. All right. So we got this top line here. So I went and took a different photo from Rachel's channel because I felt like this expression told a better story than the one up here. Although your expression here is nice and subtle, which I think works. I'm over fish face, like, oh, I think everyone hates that. So out of these top ones, James, I changed the title too. I got scammed by a famous YouTuber. Now, I put that because I thought that was more intriguing than I fell for a scam, because famous YouTubers shouldn't be scamming people. And by the way, I just have to make this crystal clear. Tayo is not a scammer. I've put him in the thumbnail and said, I made him out to be one. He is not. He is anything but I just want to use it for this example. So which of these ones would you have picked, James, and why?
I quite like the white one myself, because it's got that, it's clean. It almost looks like it's, I know it's not, but it almost looks like it's a newspaper article. And the black text is definitely streaming good for me, standing out well. And then secondly, I'll go for the red out of those top lines.
This one.
Yeah.
So can you see I've adjusted Rachel's color temperature of her skin there? So this one is a bit more, there we are, a bit redder. And I think it actually helps a lot, right? Just removing some of that warmth makes it a little more natural.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So next one, we went by the really simple designs that were just a tweet. And I changed the title here to "What Happens When a YouTuber Scams You." And then, again, this is why you need to make the title and thumbnail first, because this introduction would have to then lead into Rachel's story. In the same here, I got scammed by a famous YouTuber. You would need to set that up straight away and then tell your story. But you need to put the title that is the most intriguing and then work out the intro. So any of those work better than others?
Subtle. I guess I would want to have the replies in, because I'll probably go for probably the first one. No, second one. It's got the vignette.
Yeah. So I think, the text on here, usually when you see these type of thumbnails, they're very playful. It's very humorous, the stuff they write. I couldn't really think of anything that funny to write, but I will pay you, honest. Call me and get rich. And once again, just in case you've just tuned in, this guy is not actually a scammer. He's a legit guy. Just for the purpose of this thumbnail, we're using him because he was part of Rachel's story. So for me, I'm attracted to this one that's just really, really basic.
Yeah, I feel like having the thumbs up and the replies blue helps. It makes it look genuine, even if it's faked. It just sells it a bit more for me. But yeah, it's clean. It could look like a bit like an Apple advert, but
maybe you could play into that and be like, I won't scam you, honest. Maybe that should have been the thing. All right, and then down the bottom here, in the draft system, these are our final twos, which we took from another design from this one. I think what I liked about this was it was chaotic. It stood out. It was like that blur kind of makes it feel a bit more sinister. You think?
Yeah, and it has that. It's like you've taken a picture of your computer monitor, so it's like you've got the camera really close, so it's got the depth of field and stuff. And I've also put some motion blur on there, so it looks like you're scrolling, but then you've stopped, but it's still catching up the pixels and stuff. So it's like, it feels like a real event happening.
Yes, and I think that, again, I changed the title here to "I Fell for a YouTube Scam." I think that actually the realism on like you said, the screen effect you created helps get my attention. So the question is, the little emoji person, the little devil, and if you're in Thumbnail University, you'll know that I've always said don't ever use emojis in your thumbnails, and I've done it twice here. But I've used them in the correct way before anyone says anything. So here, what do you prefer, the devil or the man?
Personally, I prefer the devil, because it's just because it's cute. and colourful.
The
But
cute devil, yeah.
the cute one, yeah. But it could just be because he's got a dark profile picture. If that was like a different image, it might have helped anyway.
I think I'm with you on that one. All right, in the comments, people, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9 thumbnails again, from left to right. That's 1, that's 4, that's 9. Which one pops the most for you? Which one would you click on if you saw it? And I will wait because we've got this sort of 45-second delay on live streams. Kind of wish we didn't have that. I guess I don't know why that is. So we've had a few people saying what you just said a minute ago. Sam. Oh, hello, Sam. Sam has come in and said, I like the devil, but he wished the man was brighter, which is what you said. And still waiting some votes. Oh, here we are. They're coming in. So 2, 3, 9, 8, 2, 3. 2's winning so far.
I guess the red does stand out.
Yeah, I think if I'm honest, I think the red. And again, if we look at this, an 8 has got quite a few clicks. I think 2 and 8 is come. So 2 and all right. So we could look at these and say, all right, maybe it's what the red that works. You know, do we need to take elements of red and put into this one? But I think I'd go with this one to start if it was me in terms of an image.
I would, because you can have more fun with that one, I think.
Yeah.
And be cheeky.
Now the benefit of this is for a cold audience, you're not going to be put off by the person you've never heard of. Mm-hmm. I think I'd run with that one. So that's the 4th round of the system, the all-important feedback round, and then we would go and make that thumbnail, pick a winner, and launch it. Now, it's the end of the second contestant, which means only one thing. It's ask a question round. I need a jingle. Hang on.
When you say when you get to the 5th round, pick a winner, is that because you're referring to do variations of that one, like different color options and stuff?
No. So that's a good question, James. So what I'm saying is, once you've got the feedback on, so we've gone with this one. We've the audience has spoken. Now this is supposed to be a draft, but actually I don't think there's much I'd change. If it was a lot more draft, I'd go and do the final finessing, the fiddly bits that often take a while on Photoshop, and then I'd go and make the video and launch. Make sense?
You'd polish it.
That's it, yeah. Now, some of these are a lot more polished than I was hoping, just because you're so good at Photoshop. But these ones I've done, you can see that I've not cut Rachel out very well at all. And, yeah, I would have tinkered with lots of different things. I actually changed the colour of her shirt. You see that? So I would have played around with that and just had a final little tweak just to level up the quality a tad, and then we'd be off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a question before we move on to the 3rd candidate in our system. So I'm just going to wait for someone to come in. Probably need some like lift music to play in the background.
You had a song lined up, remember?
I did, but I think we'll get a copyright strike if I play that. And every time I live stream, especially when I re-edit people's videos, Epidemic Sound slaps a warning on me. Thanks, Epidemic. So the next one of these live streams I'm going to be re-editing viewers' videos live. So if you want to get in on that, there's a link below to the mailing list. It's free, and I will email the list when the time comes to submit your content. So, right, let's go back to the next question. How long should you... Let's add to broadcast. All right, this is from Peter. Peter says, how long should you give a thumbnail a chance to see if it helps a dead video? All right, so if you don't have a very big channel, if you don't have many views and don't get many impressions, changing thumbnails is tough. For channels like my size, it's much easier because we are getting impressions on videos a lot. So even a video on my channel that's not doing very well still could get like 10,000 impressions in a week, say, which means I can change a thumbnail and an hour or so later, I can see a difference. If you're a small channel and your video is only getting a handful of impressions, you're not going to see an instant uplift. So all I would say is it's different for every channel. But you be patient. If you're changing old videos, thumbnails, you don't want to rush this. You don't want to change them every day. You don't want to trust you don't want to change 20 different thumbnails on your channel at all. What you want to be doing is picking a couple, play around with your old videos that you think deserved better, and let them sit for a few weeks. So sometimes on my channel, I see a spike straight away. That spike dies off, doesn't take. Sometimes it takes weeks, and then it goes. But we're just looking at impressions. So forget the click-through rate. It's not the best metric to measure this on. It's one of the metrics, but you want to be looking at click-through rate and impressions, and then obviously views spiking. So if you've got a very small channel, you might have to wait a lot longer. What I don't think you want to be doing is spending forever changing old video thumbnails and changing them all the time. Take it slow.
You mentioned in the Discord in the week about the problem with A/B testing as well, which might be quite valuable information for people.
Well, I guess you'll have to be in the Discord to find out.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. Go for it, man. What was it?
It was about like people were asking about if I A/B test this, but the one's getting a good result in the click-through rate, but you were saying that that metric is not reliable source or something.
Sure. So if you're using TubeBuddy to split test your thumbnails, what it does is it tells you thumbnail A got a higher click-through rate. But what it does is it gives you the average click-through rate over all of the traffic sources, not the one that you might want to work for. So for example, if it suddenly spiked in search, it might say, yeah, use this thumbnail, but you wanted views on the homepage. So it's not relevant. So when it picks a winner for you, just go in to TubeBuddy and just check that it's actually picked it based on the traffic source you were hoping to do well in. A couple of times it's picked one that did better in a traffic source I wasn't interested in, and I was like, let's not use that. And then I picked the other one, which had actually done really well in the traffic source I was interested in. So good question, James. You've been paying attention this week.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to our next contestant. Of a cheesy radio voice appeared there. Contestant number 3. This is Justin. So, starting off our system, first things first is the idea. We don't get to decide the idea because it's already been decided for us. So we're going in. This is Justin. So this is his video, which was called I ranked every Voltbeat album to find out this. Are you a Voltbeat fan, James?
Can't get enough.
Yeah? I know that, yeah? Yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
good.
I don't know what style of music this is. I don't know if it's beat music or...
It's going to be rock, isn't it? It's going to be. All right, what I want you to do, I want you to throw some objections at me. Why would you not click on this thumbnail?
Okay. It's busy.
It's Voltbeat.
it's Voltbeat. I don't know them. I don't know the artist, obviously, so it's not an album I would.
I love rock,
Yeah.
so I'd probably really enjoy this. I don't know why I'm being like that. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not. Whenever I see a stroke, I get put off by. I think, to me, a stroke around someone quite often means it's. I don't know. I don't want to say that, actually. No, forget what I was going to say. I was just going to say it might come across as low quality videos, so I don't want to say that. I just did. But so
That's fair enough.
Yeah, if I see too many effects in a thumbnail at once, I probably think that the actual video is not going to be great quality either. So I'd skip, unfortunately.
Okay.
So there's lots of colors going on as well as blues, yellows, blacks. Yeah, it's. We could change this.
Color-wise, it's not too bad. I think
It's not too bad.
Go on.
The background's a muted album cover, isn't it? I think it looks like it's one of the album covers scaled up large, but you couldn't tell that, obviously, and I don't think it needed it. It could probably not have the textured background.
Yeah, I agree. So to me, the stroke is one thing you mentioned. So James stays up at night, 3 a.m. in the morning, sweating because these white lines exist around people. That white line is saying, this is the most important thing in the image, look at me, as far as I'm concerned. Now you're pointing at this thing over to the edge here, so it can't be. So strokes, Just be careful with them, okay? Because every time you put a stroke, James cries.
I've only got so many tears left.
Yeah, he's running dry. The next thing that's kind of like for me is someone says, "How is that too busy?" Well, I'll tell you how this is too busy. So we've got I think it's more because the album cover's quite busy in the background, and then what's happened is he's put an effect on the blue square on here, which is showing some of the background, which makes it even busier. And then you've got stroke around the text, stroke around here. It's a busy thumbnail. We'll show you what. I think we made them less busy in a sec anyway, in a different way anyway. So yeah, I don't like the position of this text because it's down the bottom here. What's that telling the viewer? It's not telling us it's that important. So, we're pointing at Voltbeat. I think every other album ranked. I don't think it's the worst thumbnail, but I think we can do better. One question I want to put at you, deadly serious. Why Voltbeat? Because I went on Google Trends and had a look, and they are on a big decline in interest. Now, they could be a classic band, but one of the things I would put forward to you is maybe do this again, but I ranked every best ever rock album, something like that. So that's the idea, but, we're going to move past that, and we're going to move on to the inspiration round. Round 2, this is very important. So round 2... finding inspiration, there is this sort of trend on YouTube, which you can see is this SABC kind of ranking system. The idea being S is like God tier, F is useless. And these videos can do well in every niche. I've seen them do well in crypto. I've seen them do well in film. I've seen them do well, I'm sure, somewhere else. But they're everywhere, right? So I've taken a few examples. So this is the latest one from the Premier League. Transfer deadline day. This is one on Oreos. This got millions of views. So these videos have all performed above for the channel, and I think we want to be thinking about why would your viewers care about clicking on this. So to me, when I see an every video ranked, the thing that fires up is usually an internal thing where I'm like, is my favorite at the top? And then I also want to know what's their favorite, and if it's not mine, they need to justify it. So you can find there's passionate people who will fight in the comments about your ranking, but that's all part of the fun. So new title options. I changed it slightly to ranking every Voltbeat album, just made it shorter. Yours was I ranked every Voltbeat album to find this out. When I watched your video, I wasn't quite sure what you found out, so I think it was revealing the best one. I also changed the title to "Is this the worst rock album ever?" and just to be a bit more challenging. And then another one, "Is this the best rock album ever?" Again, what it would mean is you don't make that video, you make a different video, but we're making videos based on what gets clicked, and that's kind of how you do it. So James, any of these work better for you?
I've got a problem with them, but that's just from a design perspective. Like when I see those color blocks, my reaction is number 6.
This one?
No, my reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
it looks like a kid's xylophone.
I totally agree. And from a design point of view, they're not great, but they do bring in millions of views, so we have to ignore that because it's not always about what looks pretty.
It's tricky. But yeah, and if you did them in a tasteful way, then they're not gonna. Who cares about a nice, pretty grid? They want instant impact results. So
this is the best. This is the best one for a number of reasons, but it's mainly because it's social hacking. We've got the famous person, and actually it's very symmetrical, very simple, and they've kept it quite clean. Even though it's breaking a ton of rules for thumbnails in that it is technically very busy, I think it works. Do you agree?
It's hard not to do a busy one when you're talking about covers of albums or videos and stuff, and you can't limit your palette because of it's all down to the album cover artwork or the DVD cover.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it breaks the rules. But yeah, that one's the best because it's got a hero element. It's not going all the way to F. It's just focusing on the important A, B, C, and S. So, all the way to the F. That's like, it's got those colors that are not needed probably because no one cares about D, E, and F. They only want to see the best.
Yeah. Good point, that. Right. So that's section 3 of our system. We want to move on to section... No, that was section 2, sorry. Section 3, moving on to the inspiration wall. Before I reveal these, I asked James to make me some draft thumbnails They don't need to look very good, James. And he came out with these, which look awesome. Look at this one. I was like, wow. I mean, I don't know if it works as a thumbnail, but in terms of an image, good work, man. Like, I'm glad you're on my team. All right, so let's have a look at these. So a couple of things I mentioned. I changed the title, but I'm going to stick with his original title here. On the top one, you've kept it nice and simple. You kept to the 4 that you said. Why show too far down the line? You've managed to make an album wall cover not look that busy, and I think that helped because they're all the same sort of color palette, their brand. Which one of these would you click on, James, if you were a big Voltbeat fan?
I'll go for the middle one because of the clear space that you've got. I think. Think anyway. I think so, just because the white helps separate the album covers even more. Let
me ask you a question though. Do Voltbeat fans like Angel
like white?
Or do they like Black Rock?
Yeah, we should probably go monotone on the SABC as well.
I think this is a nice mixture. It's got a hint of white, and then it's got a bit of darkness for the rock fans. Okay. But yeah, I think these are strong. I think this is how you should have made your thumbnail. If you want any of these, by the way, just email me, and we'll send them to you. I think we kept him, right? We've got Photoshop files as well. James, you took his face, didn't you? From did you remove the stroke?
Yeah.
Look at that. How long did that take you?
I used subject selection, and it was pretty quick. And then I just refined the mask.
That's why you get Photoshop, isn't it? Rather than Canva.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So you'll notice in the bottom ones, I've removed his hand.
Well, this one, where his hand. Is this the same photo?
Yeah.
Where's this?
And I've cloned his shirt, so he's got a full T-shirt.
I just thought you found other photos of him. I was like, where did you find all these high-quality photos? Good work, man. Good work. All right, next one. I'm not as keen on this concept, but I do like This Sucks because it's, provocative. Thoughts?
Yeah, I like this one because, it's going against the grain. It's like,
we both just made a mistake. We both said I like. That's a fine for both of us.
Okay.
This one works.
I think this one works because it goes against the grain. It will agitate a lot of people, and that will get you some clicks.
Yeah, as long as you're all right, selling your soul to agitating people. But that's the name of the game, right? So this one here, I discovered this at the end. I changed the title slightly. Which one are you clicking on, James?
I like the white myself, but again, for the genre, you could go the black.
Yeah, I think this one sticks out to me the most as well. Disguising the image is another sort of tactic I quite like. I've seen it work and sometimes, and I've seen it not work so well before. So
scale that one up just so they can see, because I can't quite see at this scale.
Sure, one sec.
Sure.
Boink. Oh, where'd it go? There we are.
Minecraft it.
I don't know what that means.
Make it squares, pixels.
Right, I've played Minecraft a couple of times. I'm not. I know Sims, but I'm not Minecraft.
I have not played. I'm not a Minecraft player.
Oh, you seem to know a lot about it. All right. Yes, what were you saying before you went off on a tangent?
Yeah, it's just so people could see kind of what the effect is at scale. So yeah, that's just the mosaic effect in Photoshop if you want to do that.
What's good about this one? It's like, is he dissing my favorite Voltbeat album? Is he, is it there? And that's going to inspire a click. But again, that stroke gone so much cleaner. James, this bottom one. Now, this looks great, but in terms of strategy, it's the worst, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It was just because you gave me the task of making an album wall and a background, and they're such dark album covers. It was hard to make it look pleasing, so I tried warping them to make a tunnel that he's in to represent there's like loads of Voltbeat albums and stuff, but
it looks the best in terms of design. You know what I mean? I'd look at that and be like, that's a cool picture. But
I was tempted to maybe have the text, because if we were going to go This Sucks again, you could have wrapped some text around his ears as well, either side, so it could have had a bit of copy as well to back it up. But I'm not sure.
I think you could have made the pictures in the background a bit bigger, so it was more Voltbeat. The problem with this image is He is the hero. He is the main pull. And actually, Voltbeat is. Do you know what we should have done? Is we should have removed him from this and maybe put in the main frontman of Voltbeat here. Got you out of the way. Put on the most clickable frontman of Voltbeat, and that's what I would have gone with, for sure. All right, James, we're going to put it to the group, the viewers, the live posse. Sounds weird me saying that. Which one? I'm going to delete this one just because it makes it confusing. Out of these 9, 1 to 9, which one are you clicking on? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Someone said worst rock album ever. Could be another way of presenting it. I don't know. I'd probably want to click on that just to find out what the video is about. Just waiting for some more comments to fire up. If you are watching as a not live at home, feel free to just shout out if you want to feel like you're watching live. The number. We've had
really loud.
We've had our first come in. Here we are. They're a little bit delayed. Oh wow, loads fired in. So 5 to me, 2, 5, 5, 6. So 2 and 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's 5. Okay, these 2 in the middle. 6. It's got a few fans. So the red 6. Oh, it's a bit of a split. All right, James. So what do you do in a situation like this where you're getting a split? I guess you go with your gut, don't you?
I guess so. I guess I mean, the other you could also, if you wanted to, you could color the t-shirt red in the black version or something like that. So you got a bit of a contrast color. A
5, I think, is sticking out, but I agree. So I'd probably, one of the problems when you get a lot of feedback and it's all slightly different, you got to make a decision. So go with the one that feels best, but I think James just hit the nail on the head there. Get a red t-shirt on and get that photo so it's got a bit of contrast, it sticks out. And yeah, you would then move on to the final part of the system, which is finessing that. I know a lot of the thumbnails that we showed you today are kind of looks quite slick anyway, but you don't have to make them that slick when you go and go for feedback. So just to sum this whole system up, because it does work. So number 1 is your idea. Number 2 is getting inspiration for your idea and how you would dress that idea up. Number 3 is then making 3 different drafts and then making slightly different colors. And then number 4 is getting feedback from people to see which one they click on. Make sure you screenshot it with the title, and you can use a tool like thumbsup.tv to do that. And number 5 is just picking your winner, having some conviction. Now, there are many more steps after that in terms of measurement and so on, which we're not going to get to today. But what we are going to get to is a question. And whilst I wait for those questions to come in, just want to remind you guys of a few different things. First things first, if you would like to have your channel featured on a live like this, because I would like to do a lot more, we are going to be doing editing next. There's a link in the description where you can sign up. It's free. And I send a weekly email with YouTube tips and tricks, stuff I don't talk about on the channel. It goes quite deep. It's getting bigger every week. There's case studies. There's analytic dives. And in that, I offer people that main this a chance to be able to join in on these live streams. There's also a link down below to Thumbnail University. This is the first place of its kind. It teaches Photoshop, photography, lighting, strategy. There's a community there, so you can get feedback from other people who speak the same language. They shouldn't be saying things like, I like this. They'll be saying, that works, and here's why. And I think that's, hit like and subscribe, the usual stuff. But let's go and get one of these guys' questions on here. I want to make, let me just see what we got here. Got quite a few questions, but they are not. Why do you keep calling Ed Sheeran James? That's a great question. Oh, he's had 40 years of this.
Don't tell them my age. No one knows that I'm 40.
They wouldn't believe me anyway, James, because you don't look a day older than 12. Right, so we have Steve McDonald. Should you consider that people watching dark mode and creating a thumbnail as it looks very different against a dark background? Yes, Steve, that is the right question to be asking. So,
This is an interesting one because we've suddenly started testing light thumbnails for you now, and you have been a big fan of dark mode. And I've always been a bit like, well, they're getting lost in dark mode, but you have liked that aspect.
Yeah.
But,
so basically, the majority of people are now watching in dark mode, which brings on a dilemma. So if you use a very bright white thumbnail, it should stick out more in dark mode, right? But what I noticed was actually if you kept it dark and then used light text or other light features, those features popped out rather than the image as a whole. So we ended up getting darker and darker and darker. And someone said to me, "Why don't you try lighter?" And I thought, yeah, let's try it. So the only thing with light is, when it's white, it kind of blends into the background of YouTube. So what you want to be thinking about is your viewers. So if they are young, hip, happening people, they're probably on dark mode. If they are slightly older, if they're my parents' age, my mum doesn't know that dark mode is a thing. She wouldn't know to change. And that might be the case just because, if I'm honest, I didn't know dark mode was the thing until I did a live stream and someone swore at me for using light mode. It's like, what does he mean, dark mode? So have a think about your audience.
Light.
You used to prefer light mode?
Yeah, I think that's to me, that's I don't know. Well, to me, that's
the thing.
I find it claustrophobic when it's in dark mode.
Yeah, light mode's kind of default. So you do want to be considering it, but 60% of people are using dark mode, and that's what I've been told. So you can design for them, but I don't necessarily think that means making a bright white thumbnail will work better. It's an option. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. So I just gave you an answer.
Quick tip for you though, if any of you are using Photoshop, when you zoom out and you can see your canvas blank area, right click on that area and then you can change what that displays as. So you can set some custom colors. So you could set a dark mode, you could set a light mode, and then you can cycle between them with the F key.
Layla is Leela. Sorry. I bet you get all the time, Leela. Don't estimate your mum, Ed. Underestimate your mum, Ed. I would never underestimate my mum. That's good advice. All right. So on that note, thank you very much, guys, for turning up. Everyone who turns up live, really appreciate your time. Anyone who watches as a video, I still appreciate your time too. So like I said, we're going to hope to be doing the next one of these on editing, which I'm very excited for. But we're going to sign off. James, any final words?
You're going to do the editing in Premiere, yeah?
No. Well, we're not going to be teaching editing tricks of the platform. We will be teaching editing in general and inspiring rather than giving people silly little Premiere. And no, I would never use Premiere because it's awful. It's too slow.
You, baby.
Yeah. All right, guys. Oh, yeah. I won't be getting sponsored by Adobe anytime soon. On that note, thank you very much. Take care.